In a stunning revelation that has reverberated through the basketball world like a thunderclap, Golden State Warriors head coach Steve Kerr confirmed what, until now, had only existed in the shadows of speculation and rumor. The Warriors, indeed, attempted to trade for Kevin Durant at the trade deadline. Yes, that Kevin Durant. The one who once led the Warriors to 2 NBA championships and 2 Finals MVPs. The same Durant who, after years of triumph and controversy in the Bay, left in one of the most dramatic free agency moves of the modern era. They tried to bring him back. This wasn't just idle gossip or baseless speculation. This was a real attempt. A full-scale push from the front office to change the course of the franchise's future. For the first time, someone within the Warriors' inner sanctum went on record to admit it. Steve Kerr, typically guarded, broke through the wall of silence and confirmed that General Manager Mike Dunleavy Jr. orchestrated a bold and aggressive effort to reunite Durant with his old team, believing perhaps that one more shot with one of the most gifted scorers in NBA history could extend the dynasty that had defined the past decade of basketball. But then came the shock that no one saw coming. Kevin Durant himself, in an ESPN interview that quickly went viral, acknowledged that he personally blocked the trade. Calmly, almost dispassionately, he said, "I didn't want to move mid-season." Just like that. As if returning to the Bay, where both glory and scars remained, could be brushed off with a single sentence. But was it really just about timing? Some insiders aren't so sure. Many believe Durant's explanation was more of a shield than a true reflection of his heart. After all, the wounds from his previous departure were still raw for him, for the Warriors, and for the fans. But the story gets even more complex when you understand the magnitude of what was almost set in motion. The trade that the Warriors' front office crafted wasn't simple or clean. It was a massive, intricate 3-team deal, the kind of aggressive maneuver that makes or breaks franchises. The framework involved sending Jimmy Butler, Jonathan Kuminga, multiple first-round picks, and several pick swaps to the Phoenix Suns in exchange for Durant. Yes, Jonathan Kuminga. The young electric forward who had finally started to blossom this past season, averaging 16 points and 5 rebounds per game, while showcasing the defensive versatility and raw athleticism that had Warriors fans dreaming of another homegrown star. Kuminga wasn't just a name thrown into the mix. He was, and still is, a critical piece of the Warriors' present and future. To include him in this deal meant the Warriors were ready to mortgage their future for one more shot at the crown with Durant. But none of it materialized because Kevin Durant said no. With that one decision, quiet, firm, definitive, the entire trade structure collapsed like a house of cards. And suddenly, the Warriors were left staring at a future that looked wildly different from the one they had been negotiating behind closed doors. Yet in true Warriors fashion, they did not retreat. They pivoted. Mike Dunleavy Jr., facing the collapse of the Durant trade, immediately shifted focus to another superstar, Jimmy Butler. Unlike Durant, Butler was not only available but, according to Dunleavy and Kerr, a far better cultural fit for the current Warriors. A grizzled playoff warrior, known for his relentless competitiveness, two-way play, and unshakable leadership, Butler had just come off yet another deep postseason run with the Miami Heat, where he averaged 24 points, 6 rebounds, and 5 assists per game. This was not just a consolation prize. This was a recalibration of vision. And unlike the Durant deal, which would have cost the Warriors their most promising young asset in Kuminga and mortgaged their draft future, the trade for Butler came at a relatively modest price. Crucially, they kept Kuminga as well as their future first-round picks, giving them the flexibility to compete now while still preserving the foundation for what comes next. But imagine for a moment, what if Durant had said yes? What if the Warriors had gone all in, sacrificing Kuminga, giving up multiple future picks, and bringing back the prodigal son? Yes, Durant's on-court brilliance is undeniable. His playoff stats this year alone prove that, with averages hovering around 28 points and 8 rebounds per game. He is, without a doubt, one of the greatest scorers in NBA history, capable of altering the outcome of any game at any moment. But at what cost? Durant is now in his mid-30s, with a $54 million contract for 1 more year, and a well-documented history of injuries. The Warriors would not only have been tying up an enormous portion of their salary cap under the NBA's new second apron rules, but they also would have been gambling on the delicate chemistry of a locker room already stretched thin. And then there's the elephant in the room: the lingering, unresolved tension between Durant and Draymond Green. It was their highly publicized feud, that explosive on-court confrontation in 2018, that many believe ultimately drove Durant out of Golden State in the first place. While time can heal wounds, it often leaves scars. Could they really have coexisted again in the same locker room? Could the trust be rebuilt? Could the team function at the highest level with such a volatile history bubbling just beneath the surface? Many insiders say no. The Warriors' leadership had always been careful to avoid confirming any trade discussions involving Durant, perhaps because they knew the potential fallout such talks could bring. But with Durant's public acknowledgement and Kerr's candid admission, the rumors have now been validated. This wasn't fiction. It was fact. And yet, many experts believe the trade, had it gone through, would have been a disastrous overpay for Golden State, not only because of Durant's age and salary, but because of the sheer magnitude of what they would have given up. Kuminga's untapped potential, their draft flexibility, and perhaps most importantly, their future identity as a franchise that balances veteran championship experience with youthful promise. Instead, by acquiring Jimmy Butler at a lower cost, they've managed to reinforce their roster without gutting it. Butler is no stranger to high-pressure moments. His postseason heroics are well documented. In Miami, he became synonymous with playoff grit, dragging undermanned teams deep into the playoffs through sheer force of will. His arrival in Golden State signals a shift in tone, from finesse to ferocity. And let's not forget, the core of the Warriors remains intact. Stephen Curry continues to perform at an elite level, averaging 27 points, 6 assists, and 5 rebounds per game this past season, defying age and expectations. Klay Thompson, adapting to a new role, still provides lethal shooting and championship experience. Draymond Green, the emotional heartbeat of the team, remains a defensive stalwart and playmaking hub. Add in Moses Moody, quietly developing into a reliable rotation piece with averages of 9 points per game, and the Warriors have a roster that blends championship pedigree with youthful upside. But even now, with the dust seemingly settled, speculation continues to swirl. Could the Warriors revisit a Durant trade this offseason? Some media voices suggest that talks could be rekindled, especially given the Suns' increasingly precarious salary cap situation. The Suns, laden with expensive contracts and struggling to fit under the cap's second apron, might yet be open to moving Durant in a deal that offers them long-term flexibility. But should the Warriors entertain that possibility? The video's host makes a compelling case against it, pointing to Durant's history of media drama, his unresolved issues with Draymond Green, and the chemistry risks inherent in bringing him back. Yes, Durant's talent is transcendent, but so are the complications he brings. In a league that now punishes overspending more than ever, the Warriors have to weigh every financial and cultural consideration carefully. Under the NBA's new collective bargaining agreement, second apron teams lose much of their ability to maneuver. No mid-level exceptions, no aggregating salaries in trades, and more restrictions on signing buyout players. Adding Durant's $54 million salary could effectively handcuff the franchise for years to come. And so, in a twist filled with dramatic irony, Kevin Durant may have inadvertently saved the Warriors from themselves. By rejecting the trade, he prevented them from making what could have been one of the biggest mistakes in franchise history: The Warriors are no strangers to bold moves. Their dynasty was built on them. But sometimes the boldest move is the one you don't make. Now, with Jimmy Butler donning the blue and gold, the Warriors have charted a new course, one that leans into toughness, defense, and leadership, one that preserves the promise of Jonathan Kuminga, the steadiness of Stephen Curry, and the evolving roles of their young core. And perhaps most importantly, one that allows them to keep writing their story, rather than endlessly trying to rewrite the old one. The dynasty isn't dead, it's just evolving. As the new season looms, Warriors fans everywhere are left with a mixture of relief, curiosity, and perhaps a little nostalgia for what almost was. The idea of Kevin Durant returning to Golden State was tantalizing, the stuff of NBA soap opera legend. But in the end, it was a fantasy that never materialized, leaving behind only what-ifs and the reality of a team that is, once again, ready to fight for its place at the top. And as the lights fade and the noise settles, one truth echoes loudest of all. The Golden State Warriors, even without Kevin Durant, are far from finished. And here's the key takeaway from the channel. Delve into financial education to enhance your quality of life. Within the financial market, explore bonds and shares, particularly focusing on real estate investment trusts, which offer the potential for passive income. Engage with this responsibly and consider reputable investment brokerages worldwide.